Welcome back to the Paul White Show. I've been visiting with Michael Pierce, the writer, the columnist, the outdoors at the Eagle. And Michael, we just gave away some bait. You know, it's some more stuff that's going on in Wichita. I mentioned in an earlier show, the Community Voice is sponsoring one of the sponsors that are sponsoring a trip to Kansas City. You can win a trip to Kansas City for 4 people, and it's good up until 2013. I'm going to give you the website address that you can go to enter the contest, but they said that more information would be available in the Community Voice. If you pick up one, all the information is in there on page 10. Now, to enter the contest, you need to go to the Community Voice new website. It's called voiceatwichita.com, and answer 5 questions on that website to enter to win a trip for 4 to Kansas City. And they're going to do it by drawing. All the rules and the contest is there. That's to win a trip to Kansas City. That's going to be nice for 4 people. Okay? Mike, before we left, we was talking about bass and other things. I guess we need to jump over on the gardening right now a little bit. You know, it's spring. It's coming. Right now you can plant cold crops, meaning cabbage, lettuce, radishes. You can also get the little mustard greens in, a few early crop of turnip greens. You know, I'm recommending to people this year to put their gardens in a little early, because if we run into the heat early like we have been for the past couple of years, people who planted their gardens early got good harvest before the heat came in. A lot of people waited because your spring crops, most of them are repeatable in the fall, but it's so hot here lately during that time of year till you need to plant what you can plant in the spring while we getting the rains and all this type of stuff, so you can have a good spring harvest. Nothing else, you got a good spring harvest, you know, of the cold crops to eat. And I'd watch the frost and get my crops in as early as I could. This year it's going to be very vital to mulch. A lot of people don't like mulching, but mulching, I guarantee you, will save some of your plants when the heat's bearing down on them.
Why is that?
Well, because it retains the moisture better in the ground. The moisture lasts longer, and that's an advantage for the plants. Okay. And another thing, if the city of Wichita put in place its water restrictions, I don't know what that restriction is going to consist of, you know, or how much you're going to be able to water. You might even have to make a choice between gardens or lawns. So, you know, on watering. Yeah, that'd be an easy one for me. You know what I'm saying? You might want to plant your gardens early. Also on your lawns, if you fertilize your lawns in the fall, they're kind of recommended there, meaning the county extension agency right here in Sedgwick County, that you don't fertilize your lawn in the spring. There again, if you do it in the spring, it's going to take more water. We don't know when the heat's going to ramp up, and your lawn will probably go dormant earlier than normal. But that's not going to hurt it if it goes dormant. But if it goes dormant, it still needs about half the amount of water to survive the dormancy till it comes back again. So you need to watch your lawn. If you didn't fertilize it in the winter, you'd be all right putting the light fertilizer on in the spring, but I would use half the rate. They recommended half the rate of fertilizer in the spring for your lawn. And you need to make sure you cut it 2.5 to 3 inches. That also help it retain moisture and protect the root system. I don't know about putting in lawns, but I'm sure you can try it in the spring, but you need to get them in, I'd say now. We're getting a little rain now, so that'll help get the seeds up and get them germinated. Fescue takes 1 inch of water per week. You need to also make sure you measure your water. Use your tuna can or some apparatus like that would hold the water to make sure you're getting enough water on it, but you don't want to overwater it either. I'd rather underwater it, because the grass will get used to whatever you do to it to survive. And if you overwater it, the root system won't search for water, so you got a shallow root system under the grass that won't take the heat, whatever, the drought tolerant, the characteristics on the bag won't come true for that very particular reason. So too much water is not good. even though if we don't have enough water, in any case, too much is not good. That won't give the grass a chance to hunt for its own water. So that'll make a much strong grass. Now you can put down crabgrass preventer, the pre-emergence. And there again, if you fertilize in the fall, I wouldn't use the crabgrass preventer with the lawn food in it at this time. Just get the plain crabgrass preventer and use it on your lawn. So there again, you need to shy away from the fertilizer if you did it in the fall of the year on your lawn. And your lawn will still stay green. Like I said, it'll go dormant if we get too much heat on it. But those are some tips you need to do now. And like I said, you could plant your garden right now, onions, radishes, Spanish. You can get all of those in when you can get in it and work it. Right now, the soil is kind of wet. The rule of thumb for when the soil gets right to rototill or to work is if you get a fistful of soil, squeeze it in your hand. You don't have to try to squeeze moist out of it, but just firmly squeeze it in your hand. When you open your hand up, that dirt should fall apart. If that dirt fall apart in your hand, then that's the time to rototill it. Because if you do it too wet, you get those clocks in there, you got them. All right, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank my guest Michael for being here.
Fun.
And shed some light on fishing forecast. And you got a little garden too, so we'll see you next week. You watching the Paul White Show.